Hello, everyone, and welcome back to part 2 of the Sutra on the inconceivable state of Buddhahood. So, just a recap of part 1. The Buddha is dialoguing with Manjusri, the bodhisattva of wisdom, about the teachings of emptiness, and then Subhuti, which is one of the arhats within the assembly of Sakyamuni Buddha, who is one of the great disciples that's foremost on emptiness, is now having a dialogue with Manjusri. So they are talking about the emptiness of the bodhisattva path, the emptiness of the state of the Buddhahood, and how to abide basically in the middle way, where one doesn't abide in nirvana, nor do they abide in samsara. So they are free to navigate among everything and to be skillful in their approach in life, because they can enter all the realms without attaching to any of them. Let's get started into part 2. Moreover, Subhuti, because all the elements of the 5 aggregates merge in the Dhamma Dhatu, there are no realms. If there are no realms, there are no elements of earth, water, fire, or air. There is no ego, sentient being, or life. No realm of desire, no realm of form or realm of formlessness, no realm of the conditioned or the realm of the unconditioned, no realm of samsara or realm of nirvana. When bodhisattvas enter such a domain that's free from distinctions, they do not abide in anything, though they remain in the midst of worldly beings. If they do not abide in anything, they transcend the mundane world. So this is to answer, this is to expand on his answer on Subhuti's question, because Subhuti asked the question to Manjusri, the question asking, please tell me how bodhisattvas transcend the mundane world. To transcend the mundane world means here to perform the deeds within the mundane world, deeds of liberating sentient beings, of learning the skillful means, of cultivating and practicing the bodhisattva path, and leading sentient beings to the state of transcendence, but not abiding with, so to abide within the mundane realm, but at the same time to transcend the mundane world as well. When this Dharma of transcending the world was explained, 200 monks became detached from all dharmas, ended all their defilements, and became liberated in mind. One by one, they took off their upper garments to offer to Manjusri, saying, any person who does not have faith in or understand this doctrine will achieve nothing and realize nothing. Very, very, very remarkable here. So just by understanding, because the state of Buddhahood, the state of transcendence, is not to attach the mind anywhere, not to abide the mind anywhere. Buddhahood or liberation cannot be found in the senses, cannot be found in the mind, cannot be found in any of the consciousnesses or any of the realms of existence. And so it's to abide the mind nowhere. And so how to attain these the states is through realization, through understanding, through right knowing. And so when the monks had heard the teachings of emptiness from Manjusri, they were able to realize through direct experience, realize through knowing, realize through seeing and understanding with right perception. And from that, they were able to become detached from all the dharmas, to end all the defilements, and to become liberated in mind. And so the state that they, like, in order to do that, they didn't abide the mind anywhere. It's not about how to use your mind or your senses. It's about realization, seeing, knowing, understanding. And that's how one attains liberation. And so now the first line that they spoke upon this realization, upon liberation, was any person who does not have faith in or understand this doctrine will achieve nothing and realize nothing. This is the highest truth, the ultimate truth. And if one doesn't realize this truth, anything else that one attains and accomplishes and achieves is nothing in comparison to this ultimate truth. We can have all the wealth and all the abundance of everything in life, but if we do not know this one fundamental truth, this ultimate reality, everything else is irrelevant, is insignificant. Then Subhuti asked these monks, "Elders, have you ever achieved or realized anything?" The monks replied, "Only presumptuous people will claim they have achieved and realized something. To a humble religious devotee, nothing is realized or achieved. How then would such a person think of something to himself, 'This I have achieved, this I have realized'? If such an idea occurs to him, then it is a demon's deed." Subhuti asked, "Elders, according to your understanding, what achievement and realization caused you to say so?" So they're saying that they haven't realized or achieved anything, and that for someone to believe that they have achieved something is the demon's deed. It's the false teaching. It's not the true path. So then Subhuti is saying, clearly you would have understood something and achieved or realized something in order for you to explain it like that. So what was the cause for you to have such a realization? And now the monks replied, "Only the Buddha, the world honored one, and Manjusri know our achievement and realization." So this is the realization of non-duality that is beyond words, that is indescribable, that is inconceivable. So only the Buddha and great bodhisattvas that are able to perceive the imperceivable, conceive the inconceivable, only they know this achievement and realization. "Most virtuous one, our understanding is, those who do not fully know the nature of suffering yet claim that suffering should be comprehended are presumptuous. Likewise, if they claim that the cause of suffering should be eradicated, that the cessation of suffering should be realized, and that the path leading to the cessation of suffering should be followed, they are presumptuous. Presumptuous also are those who do not really know the nature of suffering, its cause, its cessation, or the path leading to its cessation, but claim that they do know suffering, have eradicated the causes of suffering, have realized the cessation of suffering, and have followed the path leading to the cessation of suffering." So this is the Four Noble Truths. Four Noble Truths is knowing the nature of suffering, the cause of suffering, the cessation of suffering, and the path leading to the cessation of suffering, which is the Noble Eightfold Path. And so here, the monks are saying that if someone claims to know the Four Noble Truths, to practice it and attach to it, then they do not really know it at all, because they are attached to the practice, they are attached to suffering, they are attached to liberation. But these monks, what they realized is the middle way, real emptiness, the emptiness that is free from extremities. And so they claim through this statement that they know the real nature of suffering, that is not separated from suffering, that they are saying that this is the suffering that doesn't need to be eradicated, that cessation of suffering doesn't need to be realized, because by trying to remove suffering, you're attaching to the opposite extremity, which is only possible with extremity as its background. So opposite of suffering is liberation. So if you want to escape suffering and abide in liberation, liberation is only possible against the backdrop of suffering. So that is not really true liberation. And so that is what they have realized, is that Suffering doesn't need to be eradicated. The cessation of suffering doesn't need to be realized. And that the path doesn't need to be followed. And so this is truly the noble, this is truly the middle path of emptiness that is being taught by Manjushri in this sutra that is teaching the inconceivable state of Buddhahood. This is also the sudden teaching that is also followed in Zen, also taught in the Diamond Sutra, the Heart Sutra, and also the Sixth Patriarch's Platform Sutra. These are the sudden teachings for sudden enlightenment. Continuing on, what is the nature of suffering? It is the very nature of non-arising. The same is true concerning the characteristic of the cause of suffering, the cessation of suffering, and the path leading to the cessation of suffering. The nature of non-arising is signless and unattainable. In it, there is no suffering to be known, no cause of suffering to be eradicated, no cessation of suffering to be realized, and no path leading to cessation of suffering to be followed. Those who are not frightened, terrified, or awe-stricken upon hearing these noble truths are not presumptuous. Presumptuous here means to say you know when you don't know, to say you understand when you don't understand. But it also, presumptuous also means you think you do understand. You say that you understand because you actually think you do, but in actual fact you don't. So you're presumptuous. Those who are frightened and terrified are presumptuous. You are terrified and frightened because what is being taught right now from these newly liberated monks seem to oppose the noble truths. The noble truths say this is suffering, this is the cause, this is the cessation, and this is the path. And so they practice like this. They want to eradicate suffering. They want to be liberated. They want to eradicate the cause of suffering. Here it's saying this is not how you do it. But those who are attached to the path, attached to suffering, and attached to liberation, if they hear that this is not the right path, this is not how you practice, they will have fear, they will have doubt, they will be frightened and terrified. And so they are those that don't understand the real teaching of emptiness. Thereupon the world-honored one praised the monks, saying, "Well said, well said." He told Subhuti, "These monks heard Manjushri explain this profound Dharma during the era of Kasyapa Buddha. Because they have practiced this profound Dharma before, they are now able to follow it and understand it immediately. Similarly, all those who hear, believe, and understand this sutra teaching in my era will be among the assembly of Maitreya Buddha in the future." Maitreya Buddha is the predicted next Buddha after the Dharma declining age, and then there will be no more Dharma in the world, and then the Dharma will again arise from the following Buddha, the next Buddha, which is Buddha Maitreya, which is also the laughing Buddha, the fat Buddha, the happy Buddha that we see everywhere in Buddhist literature. Then the god Suguna said to Manjushri, "Virtuous one, you have repeatedly taught the Dharma in this world. Now we beg you to go to the Tusita heaven. For a long time, the gods there have also been planting many good roots. They will be able to understand the Dharma if they hear it. However, because they are attached to the pleasures of the heaven, they cannot leave their heaven and come to the Buddha to hear the Dharma, and consequently they suffer a great loss." The great loss here, despite being heavenly beings, kings of heaven that can enjoy all the pleasures of the world, can manifest anything the hearts desire, still suffer the great loss of not listening to the true teaching, listening to the Dharma, and understanding the teaching of emptiness in the inconceivable state. This is the great loss that even the kings of the heavens experience, despite having all the pleasures and powers of manifestation. As a result, Manjushri immediately performed a miraculous feat that caused the god Suguna and all the others in the assembly to believe that they had already arrived at the palace of this Tusita heaven. There they saw heavens, there they saw gardens, woods, magnificent palaces, and mansions with sumptuous tiers of railings and windows, high and spacious 20-storied towers with jeweled nets and curtains, celestial flowers, and covering the ground, various wonderful birds hovering in flocks and warbling, and celestial maidens in the air scattering flowers of the coral tree, singing verses of chorus and playing merrily. So now Manjushri manifested this Tusita heaven right before all the gods. Seeing all this, the god Suguna said to Manjushri, "This is extraordinary, Manjushri. How have we arrived so quickly at the place of the Tusita heaven to see the gardens and the gods here? Manjushri, will you please teach us the Dharma?" Elder Subhuti told Suguna, "Son of heaven, you did not leave the assembly or go anywhere. It is Manjushri's miraculous feat that caused you to see yourself in the palace of the Tusita heaven." So basically, they didn't go to heaven. They brought heaven to them. They manifested it within the present location. The god Suguna said to the Buddha, "How rare, world-honored one! Manjushri has such a command of samadhi and of miraculous power that in an instant he has caused the entire assembly to appear to be in the palace of Tusita heaven." The Buddha said, "Son of heaven, is this your understanding of Manjushri's miraculous power? As I understand it, if Manjushri wishes, he can gather all the merits and magnificent attributes of Buddha lands, as numerous as the sands of the Ganges, and cause them to appear in one Buddha land. He can with one fingertip lift up the Buddha lands below ours, which are as numerous as the sands of the Ganges, and put them in empty space on top of the Buddha lands above us, which are also as numerous as the sands of the Ganges. He can put all the water of the four great oceans of all the Buddha lands into a single pool without making the aquatic beings in it feel crowded or removing them from the seas. He can put all the Mount Sumerus of all the worlds into a mustard seed, yet the gods of these mountains will feel that they are still living in their own palaces. He can place all the sentient beings of the 5 planes of existences of all the Buddha lands on his palm and cause them to see all kinds of exquisite material objects, such as those available in delightful, magnificent countries. He can gather all the fires of all the worlds into a piece of cotton. He can put a spot as small as a paw to eclipse completely every sun and moon in every Buddha land. In short, he can accomplish whatever he wishes to do. This is the power of the inconceivable power of the great bodhisattvas in the 10 directions. Manjushri, his cultivation and practice and merits and blessings and manifestation powers is on par with the Buddha. The only difference being he hasn't let go of his initial vow, his original vow. So he, in a way, he is intentionally choosing not to become the Buddha, but he is at the highest state of bodhisattva path, the 50th or 54th stage of the bodhisattva path. And the only thing is that he has 1 ounce of ignorance left in him that he's intentionally choosing to hold, that ignorance being the original vow to liberate sentient beings. And that is the only fine dust that is preventing him, or that is obstructing him from the Buddha path. But everything else he has already attained. So the powers that he has is also the power of the Buddha. He is basically a Buddha that is manifesting as a bodhisattva. At that time, Papian, the evil one, transformed himself into a monk and said to the Buddha, "World-honored one, we wish to see Manjushri perform such miraculous feats right now. What is the use of saying such absurd things which nobody in the world can believe?" Papian is the evil one, he's Mara. The world-honored one is the Buddha, the virtuous one. The evil one, Papian, is the opposite of the Buddha, the Mara. So he's saying, what are you talking about? We want to see all these manifestations and powers that you claim Manjushri has. How can you say such absurd things that no one can believe in, that no one can believe if we cannot see for ourselves? So then the world honored one told Manjushri, you should manifest your miraculous power right before this assembly. Thereupon, without even rising from his seat, Manjushri entered the samadhi of perfect mental freedom in glorifying all dharmas and demonstrated all the miraculous feats described by the Buddha. So everything that was just mentioned before, such as moving all the waters, gathering all the fires, placing all the worlds into the smallest speck of pore, basically moving and juggling everything within the whole universe, the whole cosmic space. That is exactly what Manjushri did. Seeing this, the evil one, seeing this, the evil one, the members of the assembly, and the god Suguna all applauded these unprecedented deeds, saying, wonderful, wonderful, because all of the appearance of the Buddha in this world, we now have this bodhisattva who can perform such miraculous feats and open a door to the Dharma for the world. Thereupon the evil one, inspired by Manjushri's awesome power, said, world honored one, how wonderful it is that Manjushri possesses such great miraculous power, and the members of this assembly who now understand and have faith in the Dharma through this demonstration of miraculous feats are also more marvelous. World honored one, even if there are as many demons as sands of grains, as sands of the Ganges, they will not be able to hinder these good men and good women who understand and believe in the Dharma. So just because the Dharma is not something, the Dharma is very, very easy. There are so many practices and so many meditations and so many paths to practice. But as long as you just believe in the Dharma, you understand, you know, you realize, that is all you need. There is nothing beyond just understanding and realizing this that is being taught in this sutra, the teaching of emptiness, the teaching of attachment and detachment simultaneously, with the realization of non-duality of all phenomena. Good is the same as bad. Right is the same as wrong. Existence is the same as emptiness, because they are defined against each other. I, Papian, the evil one, have always sought opportunities to oppose the Buddha and to create turmoil amongst sentient beings. Now I vow that from this day on, I will never go nearer than 100 leagues away from the place where this doctrine prevails, or where people have faith in, understand, cherish, receive, read, recite, and teach it. However, world honored one, some of my kindred are determined to distract the devotees' minds so as to destroy the Dharma of the Tathagata. I will chant the following Dharani so that devotees can vanquish these demons. If good men or good women read, write, and recite this incantation or teach it to others, the celestial demons will benefit and will in return cause the teachers of this Dharma to feel joyful in the body and mind, to practice rigorously, to possess unimpeded eloquence and dharanis, and not to lack services, food and drink, clothing, bedding, or medicine. He then uttered this incantation. So the power of dharanis are magical, it's inconceivable, it's indescribable. You require faith, and then you can tap into the power as described by the dharani provider. The reason why there are so many evil ones, also known as demons, or the so basically the demons that want to distract the cultivators, is because the more enlightened beings there are, the less potential evil ones there are. Someone that attains liberation and cultivates all the wholesome dharmas are immediately free from defilement, immediately free from attachment to the unwholesome path, the wrong teachings. And that just reduces the army of the evil ones, reduces the army of the demons and devils. And so they don't want that. And so they always want to distract the cultivators. And so this dharani / incantation will help fend off these evil ones. Tadyata amala vimale stitativ akalavani satru jayavati bhutamati same svanati ampume busume adhire agemake kake sisile agame pulela pulapule pasume susuma didire anavanate stitate kritabidye pirokatana sadamabanakosya Sutra Trasyadra Abrabhugata Ivasuryasvaha. Then Pipian said, World Honored One, if good men or good women accept this dharani wholeheartedly and chant it with concentration, they will be protected by gods, dragons, yaksas, gandharvas, asuras, garudas, kinnaras, and mahoragas, and no evil demons will be able to take advantage of them. When Papaya and the evil one spoke this incantation, quakes of 6 kinds occurred in the billion-world universe. The world honored one then told Papian, the evil one, Wonderful, wonderful. You should know that your eloquence is a manifestation of Manjusri's miraculous power. When Manjusri was revealing this miraculous power and Papian, the demon, was chanting the dharani, 32,000 gods resolved to attain perfect supreme enlightenment. When the Buddha finished teaching this sutra, the god Suguna, Elder Ananda, and all the gods, humans, dragons, Gandharvas, Asuras, and so forth, were jubilant upon hearing what the Buddha had taught. So here it's saying that if Papian is saying that if good men or good women accept this dharani wholeheartedly, so that accept wholeheartedly means you need faith. You need faith and conviction that this actually works, because you're manifesting it within your own mind. If you don't even think it works and have no faith in it, it's impossible. So that's the first thing, is you need faith. You need to accept the dharani wholeheartedly. The second thing is to chant it with concentration. And this is another one that's very, very important. Those are the 2 keys, faith and concentration. With a concentrated mind, it allows us to place our awareness only on the dharani without having the mind doing false thinking, abiding in thinking about what we're eating, about going out, about what we're drinking, about what party to go to. Having a scattered mind will not allow the chant of the dharani to work. So the dharani needs concentration so that the mind is purely focused, single-pointedly on the dharani. And so this is the same for the Buddha name recitation, Amitabha, Amitabha, Amitabha. You need to have faith in the Pure Land practice, in Amitabha and the Western Pure Land and the rebirth. You need to have concentration of the mind so that the mind is not chanting Amitabha, but then thinking about going out, thinking about study, thinking about work, thinking about party. The mind has to be concentrated and there has to be faith. So this is the end of the sutra on the inconceivable state of the Buddhahood. If you like this sutra, please like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, please leave it in the comment section below. Thanks, everyone, and I'll see you in the next episode of the Sutra reading playlist. Bye-bye.